Hi friends, this is Sheikh Ansar Pasha, PhD History. We are going to learn water in this PowerPoint presentation. Water is a chapter of environment, that is geography textbook of 7th class in CRT syllabus. And we know the importance of water in our day-to-day life. Water is very much essential, not only for domestic purpose, but also for so many economic purposes also for irrigation, navigation, fishing, etc. And beside that, water is also used for commercial purpose. Water is found many places. The majority of water is found in oceans, 97%, ponds, rivers, lakes, glaciers. These are all the various important major sources of water. Major sources of fresh water are the rivers, ponds, springs, and glaciers. The ocean bodies and the seas contain salty water. Oceans have salty water. Salinity is more. Every 1 kilo of water, 35 grams salinity is there in all ocean water. But in case of Dead Sea, the salinity content is more. It was 45 grams per 1000 kilograms of water. That's why Dead Sea has more density of water because of high percentage of salinity. So people can float on the water surface in the Dead Sea. Dead Sea is located in West Asia. This is what we can call water cycle or hydrological cycle. Water cycle is a process in which water gets evaporated, become water droplets after condensation, again coming down to earth in the form of precipitation. Three processes are involved in the water cycle. One is evaporation. Due to intense heat of sunlight, the water gets as a vapor and adjoined in the atmosphere. There they form clouds due to the condensation, and then the form of precipitation, snowfall, rainfall, drizzle, hailstone, they are again coming down to the earth. So in the water cycle, what we see the process by which water continually changes its form and circulates between oceans. Form means liquid to vapor, vapor to liquid, and circulates between the oceans, atmosphere, and land is known as the water cycle. So this is very, very important as far as water chapter is concerned. These are all the different major oceans, major rivers, and major lakes which are found in the different parts of the world. As far as major oceans are concerned, Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Southern Ocean, and Arctic Ocean. These are all the five oceans. Besides that, we have the longest river, Nile, which is found in Africa, and the next important river is Amazon, which is in South America, Mississippi River, and Yangtze River, Huanghe River, Ganga River, Brahmaputra River. These are all some important rivers. Besides that, we have lakes also. Just see there are so many lakes in South North America. Lake Superior and Lake Huron, Lake Victoria in Africa, Lake Caspian, it is also known as sea, in Baikal Lake in Russia, Caspian Lake, which is bifurcating the Central Asian state with the top West Asian state, is also here. These are all different parts of the different sources of sea, lakes, and rivers. And we have to put here one code to remember all the five oceans. That code goes like that: PAISA, Paisa, P stands for Pacific Ocean, A stands for Atlantic Ocean, I for Indian Ocean, S for Southern Ocean, A for Arctic Ocean. So if you remember this Paisa code, you can remember all the five oceans. Anywhere you can write orderly in any competitive examination. This comes, it will be easy to remember. And you can see the distribution of water bodies. We all know that three-fourths of the Earth's surface is covered by water. The Earth is of two parts, water and land. Water covers three-fourths of Earth's surface, and if there is more water than land on this earth, why do so many countries face water scarcity? So this is because of, you can say, the improper management of the water, and also large portion of the water is found in the oceans. Is all the water on the earth available to us? No, all the water is not available. No, most of the water is going into the oceans and sea. If we just divide the water, we have more percentage of water is found in the oceans, 97.3%, but it is saline water. It contains salinity, salt content. That's why we cannot use it for drinking purpose. Next, we have ice caps, which consist of 2% groundwater, 0.68%, freshwater lakes, 0.009%, inland seas and salt lakes, 0.009%, atmosphere in the form of water vapor. Also, we can find water that is 0.0019%, and in the rivers we do find water 0.001. So the ice caps, groundwater, freshwater lakes, inland seas, salt lakes, atmosphere, rivers, all these comes under freshwater, but saline water is 97.3%. This is the Dead Sea. Dead Sea very close to Israel, Jordan and West Bank, that is Palestine. It has salinity of 45 parts, that is 45 grams per 1000 grams. Swimmers can float in it because the increased salt content makes the water very dense. That's why swimmers can float on this water surface in the Dead Sea. This is a college of newspaper. You can make similar college stating the importance of water in your home as well as in your school. Make a chart and make this college by cutting small papers, writing the drawing of this. And we are celebrating the World Water Day on March 22nd every year all over the world, stating the importance and significance of water in our day-to-day life. So one should know the importance of water. One should make the proper water management, use it judiciously so that we cannot get any scarcity in future. Then we will discuss about ocean circulation. In the ocean circulation, there is something magical about walking bare feet in the seashore. The wet sand on the beach, the cool breeze, the seabirds, the smell of the salt in the air, and music of the waves, everything is so fascinating. That's why anyone can enjoy once you happen to go to the beaches. Unlike the calm waters of ponds and lakes, ocean water keeps moving continuously. A lot of musical sound is coming out of the ocean water in the form of tides, waves, and ocean currents, whereas in case of ponds and lakes, we do not find this kind of magic or music. That's why they are quite calm. It is never still, it will not stop, it will continuously flowing. The movements that occur in oceans can be broadly categorized as three types: waves, tides, and ocean currents. which this is Pacific Ocean, which is the largest ocean, which is 40% of the water is found in this Pacific Ocean. That we have to see this. This is Pacific Ocean, which is in Philippines, near by Philippines. See next, waves. Waves are the first important water circulation when you are playing throw ball on the beach and the ball falls into the water. What happens? You all know when ball, if you play and put in the beach, what will happen? It is fun to watch how the ball gets washed back to the shore by the waves. This is the change you can find out there. When the water on the surface of the ocean rises and falls alternatively, they are called waves. Now you can have, this. These are the waves which are making a lot of sound and then ultra sounds and very big sounds. How they are dancing. You are coming to the seashore, to the beaches, silently. Sometimes they are calm, sometimes they are violent, sometimes they are very big, like the tsunami waves, which are tremendous. And their height is 15 meters to 150 meters. That's why these waves are very, very important of water circulation. And these waves, if they crosses the height 15 meters, it is called as tsunami waves. Tsunami waves we will see. So they are known as alpha waves. They are very giant waves, and their height is like from 15 meters to 150 meters. But only recorded one is 150 meters. But generally it is between 15 meters to 30 meters. The speed of the tsunami waves are ranging from 70 kilometers per hour to maximum 900 kilometers per hour. Tsunami occurred in 2004 due to the disturbances occurring in Indonesia. Thereafter, there is a mighty earthquake, volcanoes and sea landslides occurred that have made havoc in our country also, in the coast areas of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andaman Nicobar Islands, and Andhra Pradesh. It created a lot of damages. Many cities have been washed out. That's why tsunami waves are very giant and very powerful. They causes lot of problems for people. Just to see the sea tides. Sea tides may be of two types.
This shows 12 hours at the famous Bay of Fundy in Nova Scotia, Canada. It's the biggest tide change in the world. But what force could move such a massive body of water? Gravity. Here's the Earth rotating on its axis every 24 hours. We'll now draw the Earth as a diagram with its surrounding layer of ocean. And to the right is the silvery moon. Everything is attracted to everything else in the universe with the force of gravity. So the moon is attracted to the Earth and the Earth is equally attracted to the Moon. Notice that the two force arrows are the same length, showing that gravitational attractions are of equal strength. But we're only interested in the force on the Earth here. The Moon pulls on the ocean closest to it and makes it bulge outwards. When the Earth rotates, the sea level is higher at this point in its rotation, causing a high tide. And a low tide where the oceans don't bulge. So you'd expect one high tide each day. But here it gets interesting because there are two high tides a day. How come? This is because the strength of gravity is greater when objects are closer. We'll call the location of the ocean on the near side of the Moon point A, at the centre of the Earth point B, and at the far side ocean point C. The strength of the Moon's gravity is strongest at A because it's closest to the Moon. So the part of the ocean that bulges towards the Moon most is at A. But the Moon's gravity also pulls on the Earth, moving it towards the Moon as well. This has two effects. First, it makes another bulge at C. Second, it fills in the bulge at A, but not completely, because A has moved further towards the Moon than B. Lastly, the far side ocean at C is also attracted to the Moon, but it moves least because the Moon's gravitational pull here is at its weakest, being farthest from the Moon. This leaves a partial bulge at C, though not as big as the one at A. Now we can see why, when the Earth rotates through 24 hours, it goes through two high tides and two low tides. But there's another surprise. By the time the Earth has rotated once and arrived back at its original position, the Moon has moved on a bit because it's orbiting the Earth at the same time. That means that the Earth has to catch up with the Moon, so the next day's high tide is about 50 minutes later. The Moon rises and sets about 50 minutes later too, because the Earth has to catch up with its orbiting Moon. You can even test this by timing the moonrise or moon set from one day to the next. Or check out some tide charts to see if the tides obey this rule too.
So after that, the tides, we just see a rhythmic rise and fall of ocean water twice in a day is called a tide. It is a high tide when water covers much of the shore by rising at its highest level. It is low tide when water falls to its lowest level and recedes from the shore. The strong gravitational pull exerted by the sun and the moon on the earth's surface causes the tides. During the full moon and new moon days, the sun, the moon and the earth are in the same line and the tides are highest. These tides are called sprint tides. When the moon is in its first and last quarter, the ocean water gets drawn in diagonally opposite all directions by the gravitational pull of the sun and the earth, resulting in low tides. These tides are called neap tides. High tides help in navigation. There are so many uses of high tides, and they help in fishing, they help in navigation. They raise the water level close to the shore. This helps the ships to arrive at the harbor more easily. The rise and fall of water due to tides is being used to generate electricity also. This way, the high tides are very useful to us in our day-to-day lives. Ocean currents. The next important movement of ocean water is ocean current. We simply write it as OC. Ocean currents are streams of water flowing constantly on the ocean surface in definite direction. One definite direction they are constantly moving. These are ocean currents. The ocean currents may be warm or cold. The warm ocean currents originate near the equator and move towards the poles. The cold ocean currents originate from the polar or higher latitudes. They move towards tropical or lower latitudes. The Labrador is a cold ocean current, while the Gulf Stream is a warm ocean current. The ocean current influences the temperature conditions of the area. Warm ocean currents bring about warm temperatures to our land surface. The areas where the warm and cold ocean currents meet are the best fishing grounds in the world, and we can find out here on the map. These are all best fishing grounds in the world because the cold and warm ocean currents are meeting there. These are all the warm and cold ocean currents. The red arrow mark indicates the warm ocean current which are originating from the equator, whereas the cold current we have the black arrow mark indicates the cold current. The cold currents are originating from the polar, southern polar region and northern polar region, and they carry cold water, whereas the warm ocean currents originating from the equator and they carry the warm water. That's why they keep warm conditions here, whereas the cold ocean currents keep cold conditions in the polar region. This is just, you see the video. Ocean currents, movements of surface water,